XRP holders, today is the day that everything could change for the crypto market in the US. Going forward, it's here. The Clarity Act markup in the banking committee. I know everybody was waiting for this. It's happening. We'll see how this will affect the price action on the crypto market. And we also have the situation where we have the US representatives in China for the big meeting. This also could sway the crypto market one way or the other. So we're going to talk about all these things. We'll start out here with China. China's President Xi has warned, actually, President Trump of a collision or even clashes if Taiwan situation is mishandled. Per Bloomberg, China is looking for the U.S. to clarify that Washington does not support Taiwanese independence. So that's something that, they could butt heads there a little bit at the conference around that. But I think most of what they're going to be talking about is financial stuff, how the two massive countries can usher the world into the revolution of AI, how we can make the world better, safer, right? And so I think this is what mainly is going to be talked about. Hopefully, we come out of this without shenanigans. But as I've told you before, shenanigans happen. Trump can say something, things can kick off. We'll see how this plays out. I'm hopeful that things are good. I hope that Trump comes back and he's in a good mood. Hopefully, all the conflicts around the world are finished, but we know that that's probably not the situation, and we'll see. Right now, if we go and we look at the price action, but before that, please read the disclaimer. So right now, XRP is at $1.43, up 0.38% on the day. Bitcoin dropped under 80,000 last night, sitting at 79,700, up 0.5%. Ethereum similar. Solana, we had that big sell-off last night after the PPI at 91. Remember, it was already at 98, so it took almost a 10% drop-off there, right, from top to bottom. Again, XRP pulled back, but it wasn't too aggressive, about 2%, 2.5%. Similar for Bitcoin. And we'll see today as the markup begins, as they start looking at what could potentially happen here. We have, of course, those amendments that they need to talk about. And there's still some things that are not 100% closed, right? So Senate clarity talks end without a deal. Senator Cynthia Lummis reveals bipartisan Senate talks over the two remaining Clarity Act issues ended for the night without an agreement. Ultimately, we have agreement on 99% of the bill. I hope my colleagues across the aisle will work with me to getting the remaining 1% resolved after we pass this bill out of committee. Otherwise, when or if another FTX happens, we will have no one to blame but ourselves. And Eleanor says negotiations between a small group of bipartisan senators aim getting Democrats to a better place on at least two outstanding Clarity Act issues wrapped for the night without a deal, she's told, right? This is what we just read, right? Democrats like Senator Adam Schiff and Senator Ruben Caleo had been pushing to reach a compromise on ethics conflicts of interest involving the first family ahead of tomorrow's markup as a condition of their support of the bill, while other Democrats voiced 11th hour concerns about provisions tied to the Blockchain Regulatory Certainty Act, the BARCA, which would prevent non-custodial software developers from being prosecuted under money transmitter laws. Like this was an important thing that we touched about, a day or two ago. This is problematic. If you want the U.S. to be the crypto capital of the world, you can't have this situation, right? It's her understanding that meaningful progress was made on ethics, but last-minute disagreement over BARCA changes ultimately prevented a deal from coming together. Of course, it's still unclear how the 5 pro-crypto Democrats on the Bank Committee will ultimately vote tomorrow, but as of now, the expectation is that the markup will be bipartisan. Right? So there are 5 Democrats that are pro-crypto, but again, there's specific issues that might be added or removed. We talked about those amendments yesterday and how the whole markup situation works. There's a committee, they vote on stuff. Sometimes it gets added, sometimes it doesn't get added. and then it continues on. So it seems that it's not going to get rejected. The things are not going to get rejected in whole, but there could be specific things that might get rejected or added that might be problematic once it moves forward to be combined with the agriculture bill, right? There's also the agriculture committee, right? The CFTC. Remember, agriculture committee is in charge of the CFTC part. The bank committee is in charge of the SEC part. Then it gets combined, and we have the Senate then vote on it. There's an alarm here. It's not um, it's not for missiles. It's a fire alarm. I don't know what's going on. This is this is what happens on the Moneymaker Show. Sometimes you get alarms for missiles. Sometimes you get alarms for fires. I don't know what's going on. This is just part of being me, right? Where was I? Yes. So once we get to the Senate, then if there's problematic things that could, be, the situation where maybe Democrats don't want it, Republicans don't like. So that could be the danger there, that if there's too many changes or too many things that are added or not added, then once we get to the Senate, it could be problematic, and there could be, dealing and wheeling, and there could be, lobbying from the banks and lobbying from crypto to try to, right? So that whole situation. But today is the first step. Let's get past this first step, and then we'll see. Like this is the thing that's been holding the crypto community, the crypto price action up for the past 5 months, basically since mid-January. Wow, it's been 5 months of could call it purgatory here, right? That's purgatory. I think that's the word. That we're just, we don't know what's going to happen. And the price action, of course, has come down with it on the top crypto. So it will be very interesting to see what happens here today. We have, of course, lots of senators that are pro-crypto, that wants the crypto markets to be successful. Like Tim Scott put in on his laser eyes. He says, it's time to make America the crypto capital of the world. It's time to pass Clarity Act. It's time for America to lead. The future of digital assets belongs to us if we choose to act, right? Now we have a situation where money continues to rise, right? Money supply is skyrocketing. Global money supply is now at a record 121.9 trillion. Holy smokes, it ain't no jokes, right? Over the last 2 years, money supply has soared plus 17 trillion or 16%. So don't let anybody tell you that there's no money right now, that people are sitting on their hands and doing nothing. No, it's just specific to the crypto market because of the uncertainty. You don't invest in something that you don't know what's going to happen in that market, right? If there's more clarity, right, money is going to flow in. That's my opinion again. As always, I just want to remind you that this video is for educational purposes, for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before you decide to invest. Also, remember that I will never contact you on social media asking to sign up to anything or to send me any money. Those are scammers, those are imposters. Please be very careful out there. David Sachs warns us. He says, scam alert, there's been a huge escalation lately in airdrop and giveaway scams targeting XRPL users lately. Any such posts you see are likely scams. Anyone claiming to be him on Instagram, Telegram, or almost anywhere is likely a scammer. It's for sure a scammer. Right? Stay safe, XRP fam. Same here. I'm not going to contact you. I'm not going to befriend you. Be very careful out there, okay? So we get back to the money, right? Money, money, money. We have, of course, the M2. Now, if you remember correctly, the M2 was giving us, a tracking situation where Bitcoin was kind of tracking the M2 a little bit shifted to the left, meaning that it was kind of behind the M2 for a very long time. And then after October 10th, last year, it totally detached. So the money started flowing in, but it just didn't go to crypto. It didn't go to Bitcoin. We kept talking about the trickle down effect. That never happened. There wasn't enough money at the top to trickle down significantly to the bottom. And it just there was a wall that was put up and the money didn't come in. And again, it looked like October 10th was, a one-off event. It kind of broke a lot of things in the crypto market, and it's taken time to recover from that. Every single big drop in the history, maybe you could say that the pandemic drop, right, was a very V-shaped, fast recovery. You could say that the stock market actually is recovered very fast in the past few years from these sell-offs, from these drops, but it seemed in the crypto market something broke a little bit more, and it took time to recover off it. Just looking at, thinking about this, the stock market has done a beautiful job. What's going on here? Let's refresh. Recovering off of these kind of sell-offs, right? We go and we look at the S&P 500, and I'm losing my voice a little bit. You can see that, like, historically, these drop-offs, of course, we had the one in the pandemic here, famously V-shape. You could even call it a Nike shape recovery here, like the Nike symbol. Um, then there was a pullback here that took about maybe a year, right? So it pulled back, and then until it got to similar levels, it was about even 2 years. It took from February, end of 21, so 22 to 24. It took about 2 years to get back to that level. So you could say maybe this part was a longer recovery. But then you have the flash crash that we had here in April of 25, recovered off of that. And we had this pullback because of the war in Iran, and it's jumped off of that. So the stock market is actually, and you could see previously, like 2018, those of you that were in the markets, after the big rally in 2017, right? 2018, we had this big pullback towards the end of the year as well, and then a rally. And then, of course, we had the pandemic. Crypto kind of got broken there on October 10th. Even if you look at the graph for Bitcoin, it doesn't look that bad. Like October 10th doesn't look that bad because Bitcoin held pretty nicely. There's reasons why. But if you look at anything else, it looks so ugly that day. Yeah, Ethereum actually held pretty good, and even Solana held pretty good. But everything outside of Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Solana got hit significantly on that day. And I think that a lot of assets needed to unwind in order to save the behinds of the market makers. And that's why we've seen the sell-off in the months after. It looked like in January that we were going to, see recovery, maybe back to same levels. And that never happened because of the Clarity Act, right? So I'm looking to see what happens if we do get the Clarity Act passed. Where could we potentially go from here? Because right now the crypto market is sitting in a situation where, yes, we're in fear, but it's not extreme fear. I think the last few days with the CPI and the PPI being higher than expected, with inflation being higher than expected, and probabilities rising of a potential crypto interest rate hike, and not a reduction, has got the markets in a little bit of fear. Bitcoin has pulled back a little bit, so that's affecting the crypto fear index. But I feel like we're in a situation where if the Clarity Act continues forward and there's a lot more renewed confidence in the crypto market, that the short squeeze could be very volatile to the upside because of the fact that confidence has grown back into the crypto market. But I don't think it's that high yet of what it could be towards the end of the summer. Again, remember last time XRP ran up, we also weren't feeling so great. Like you go back, remember we were at 340, and then we dropped all the way down to 1.5, 160. So, XRP had pulled back significantly, about 50%, and then it kind of recovered, and then it pulled back, and there was, lots of, 30% pull back, and then it had that big run up. So we could see something similar here. Of course, if we just look from January 15th to February 15th, right? So about a month, XRP dropped 53% in that span after Clarity Act. Coinbase pulled out of the Clarity Act then. So potentially what could happen if we do get a recovery, we could see very, very fast XRP get back to these 225, 226 levels. I know that many of you would want much higher values, but let's shwaya, slowly. Let's get past these levels. Let's get back 162 here for XRP. And then we can see potentially higher levels and what could come after that. And you have to ask yourself, how can you maximize this potential? If you are interested, our partner BTCC will give the opportunity to trade the market. We do still have that competition going on. So if you are interested, link is in the description down below. Please trade responsibly. I don't know, it's not working out. Technical difficulty time. Here it is. And you can see, get that VIP status, with it means lower trading fees for you. All you got to do is deposit 500 USDT. And the more you trade, the more bonuses you will get. So link is in the description down below. You can take advantage of this. Again, you can use this to maximize the potential of a potential run here. Again, link is in the description down below, so you can check that out. And you can see here, you can get that link right here. Check out BTCC in the description, and you can click there and start trading. Don't forget to smash the like button. Check out the links in the description down below. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. And like I always say, let's make a lot of money.